to Freelance Life, the podcast where deadlines meet dogs and calls compete with kids, and somewhere in the mix, a neighbor decides it's the perfect time to use a chainsaw. In this episode, we're talking about all the glorious chaos of working from home and how freelancers somehow manage to make it all work. So, Shay, I don't know if you want to kick us off, and what is the biggest distraction in your day? I know you've got a kid, you've got a dog as well, but your dog seems very well behaved compared to mine. So, yes.
Yeah, look, it's definitely not the dog. It is the 1-year-old who has absolutely no boundaries and an increasing attachment to her mother. So, as I'm sure many people can relate, in the early years, it was great. She would stay with the nanny because she had no other choice. Now she has 2 legs and she knows how to use them. She's got 2 fists. She knows how to pound on the door. So things have changed a little. So that is definitely my biggest distraction at the moment. And we were just chatting offline now about yours, your dear dog Lucy, who is on a path of mass distraction of everything in your household.
Yes, including me. She's a biter, so that's great. But yeah, she is definitely the biggest distraction that I have because sometimes you don't hear her and you're wondering what is she doing, and you have to go and check. And all the other times she's like biting or making a noise or I've we delayed pressing record on this because she was making a nuisance of herself in the office, and now she's outside the window barking, looking in. So she knows where I am, and yeah, she has some unhealthy attachment issues as well. But yeah, she is definitely the biggest distraction. And I know we went through a phase in COVID where kind of all of that was normalized. Kids into meetings, the dog, the cat climbing on the computer, all that sort of thing. But we're kind of moved away from that, and it's not 100% acceptable anymore. So how do you control it
Mm.
when your meetings and stuff are interrupted? I don't know. Can you control a 1-year-old? I suppose it's trying to wrangle like a 1-year-old dog as well.
Yeah,
Like you don't
exactly.
really control it.
Similar problem, yes. So I agree. The whole era has lost its novelty and charm to an extent. I think it isn't how it used to be. I don't know if you remember that YouTube clip that went around ages ago, pre-pandemic, of the guy who was doing the news broadcast and his kids came in and then his wife was leopard crawling to come get his kids out. It was hilarious. I'm sure a lot of you will know the one I mean. I think we must post the link to it in the comments. It was a classic. So we've kind of gone from that to Kat being on the keyboard being okay and back again. So, and also, just for yourself, like, if I need to sit and focus and concentrate, never mind if I'm in a meeting or not, I don't need someone tugging at my jersey and pressing buttons on my computer. So I think the key is boundaries. And by boundaries, I mean physical boundaries that they literally cannot get through since they can't seem to understand the other kind. So I have my office door, and then I have a sliding door. And I also have a nanny, which I don't know if that is feasible for a dog. But I know there is such a thing as doggy daycare. So that's an option too. So
Yeah,
at the
I've actually
moment,
looked
for me,
into
it's
doggy
physical,
daycare and
actual
it's
physical
really
boundaries.
expensive.
Yeah. So
Physical
is a nanny.
boundaries. Uh, we tried the physical boundaries thing. We actually bought a baby gate, and the dog jumped straight over it. So I went and got a refund. So the physical boundary thing doesn't really work, because she knows where I am now in the office. She's figured out the layout of the house. And so, like I say, she comes and stands in front of the window, and looks at me through the window. So that in itself is distracting, even if she's not doing
Mm.
anything, because I can see this fuzzy face out the corner, like in my peripheral vision, and it's still very distracting. So yeah, if anyone has got a suggestion on how to control a hyperactive ADHD rescue dog, who is still a puppy, please put it in the comments. I am all ears. I've actually kind of leaned into it a little bit because I've just recently rebranded my company and I've made the dog part of the branding. Because if you are in a meeting with me, the meeting will inevitably be interrupted by something that the dog has done. So most of my clients know about Lucy now. But yeah, it's still not ideal. What other distractions do you have? Because last week we actually postponed recording because we had a tree cut down in the complex, and there was a chainsaw going for 9 hours outside of my office windows. So that's a distraction. And I find phone calls and WhatsApps. WhatsApps really is my problem. But phone calls, especially client calls, you can't really ignore those. But I find them incredibly disruptive in my day. Do you have a slot, like my clients are allowed to phone me between this time?
I have
Or
one
like
better.
how do you
Most of
deal
my
with phone calls?
clients don't have my phone number. So my phone number, I kind of tend to keep as far as possible for personal use. So that we do most things via email or other channels so that it's on my own terms. Of course, that doesn't work for everyone, but that's something that I've got in place so that the phone calls at least isn't a distraction. WhatsApp, oh my gosh, I know. I try not to open WhatsApp web on my computer because that's impossible. Even though I've turned off the notifications, impossible to ignore. On my phone, I don't even have my phone with me in the office a lot of the time, maybe because I'm not taking client phone calls. That stops me from going on to other apps. So then as long as I'm disciplined about giving myself a little break by logging onto my WhatsApp web, that helps. Otherwise, yeah, just when I'm trying to focus, keeping that closed. Yeah, other distractions. I think it's worth mentioning also that, we also have to realize, as you've learned to lean in with your dog joining your branding, is life happens. We don't have control over everything. And the same as if you were in office setting versus if you were at home. In the office, you've got colleagues who are interrupting you, talking to you. You're going for maybe more tea breaks, more snack. Don't know about more snack breaks, maybe just more tea breaks. So you've got all of those distractions happening too. So I think don't also be too hard on yourself and on your environment because distraction is part of life. If you've got something really important, I don't know, wake up super early before anyone's up or take yourself off to a library, to a coffee shop or something. There's ways of managing it so that it doesn't end up overwhelming you or leaving you feeling completely stressed out.
Yeah, yeah. The calendar blocking does help in that way because if you
Totally.
know that you're going to have to be working on something from like 7 until 11 or whatever the story is, at least okay, I'm not going to check my phone or I'm going
Mm.
to lock the dog in a cupboard or the baby in the cupboard. Not that I'm doing that. Let's
Yeah.
just put that out there. I'm not doing that. But you can kind of make a plan for a set amount of time if
Mm.
you need to ahead of time. So yeah.
And headphones for the win, for
Um
sure, when
yeah.
you need to sit and focus.
Especially for neighborhood noises.
Mm.
And make make them noise cancelling because that definitely helps as well.
Mm.
Um, cool. On that note, I can see the dog out of my window and she's deplanting my flower bed. So we're going to end this now. So I can sort that out quickly. We will see you in the next episode.